All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. So today is Daf Kufhei Kuvav Seches Pesachim. So we left off. I think 3 lines from the top of Kufhei Amar Aleph Rav Chananya Bar Shlamya V'Talmidei the Rav Haviyasi B'Sudasa. So right, I think that's where we left off. Yeah. So Rav Chananya Bar Shlamya and the Talmid of Rav, they were sitting in a Suda of the Koyalayu Rav Hamnuna Saba, and Rav Hamnuna Saba was, I guess, serving them. So Amarlei Zil Chazi Mekadesh Yema. Go out and check, see if the day has been Mekadesh. In other words, if Shabbos has started, I guess they're eating Friday afternoon. Nafsik, the Nikvar the Shabbosa, right? We'll stop, and then we'll be Kaveh for Shabbos. In other words, maybe we'll completely have to stop the meal. And then, we'll have to stop for Shabbos. So go see if it's time to stop for Shabbos. You don't need to go ahead and stop, right? You don't need to go ahead and make a big stop. Machlokes says the pshat over here, but the Rashbam explains it that he's talking about you don't need to go ahead and be mafsik. Why? So we'll explain that. We'll give the pshat. So he says, Shabbos is koveya itself. What does that mean? Just like when Shabbos is koveya meiser. Kach Shabbos koveya the kiddush. So too Shabbos is koveya kiddush. What does this mean? When it comes to meiser, a person is not allowed to go ahead and eat from food that is they have not taken, it's tevel, they've not taken meiser for. Okay, something which is ready harvested, it's in a pile. You can't go ahead and eat a koveya suda. However, you're allowed to go ahead and snack from something, right? If it's not koveya, you could eat while you're walking, whatever it is. That's not considered to be koveya suda from something that wasn't musar. But when it comes to Shabbos, Shabbos makes any type of eating koveya because of oneg Shabbos. So therefore, even snacking is forbidden. So Shabbos makes that eating koveya. So too, Shabbos makes the eating over here, the continuation of it, a koveya suda. So therefore, we don't need to go ahead and stop, change the entire table, bench, then restart again to make a new suda. Rather, just the existence, just let's go ahead, be mapis, to go ahead and basically paris mappa, right? Go ahead and cover the table, make kiddush, and then we'll continue eating. So therefore, the Shabbos makes this food a koveya suda. We don't need to go ahead and bring anything else in or whatever it is. Shabbos koveya, just let's go ahead and be paris mappa and make kiddush. Fine. So and then they thought, just like we're koveya kiddush, so too is koveya lahavdala. So Amarlu Rav Amram. So in other words, the same way that it worked the same way. Just like basically you don't have to stop. When it comes to Shabbos, right? There's you stop, cover the table, make kiddush. So too the same thing would be Motzi Shabbos, right? Stop eating, right? Cover the table, Havdalah, then continue. Right? So you say, when it comes to Kiddush, right, that you have to go ahead and be Koveya, right? In other words, that what you say, for Kiddush, it is Koveya. In other words, it makes it a Suda, but not for Havdalah. What do you mean? Right? That's talking about stopping. The loy mafskina, right? In other words, when it comes, that which we say, when it comes to Friday, the Motzi Shabbos is different. When it comes to when it comes to go ahead and stopping the loy mafskina, right? In other words, that which we say you're allowed to do, is you don't have to stop Motzi Shabbos. In other words, if you're eating and it's Motzi Shabbos and comes Zman for Havdalah, you're allowed to continue eating, right? That is okay. But when it comes to starting, that which we say is similar to Shabbos. So when we say Havdalah is different than when it comes to Shabbos, and Shabbos is coming, you have to stop in order to make Kiddush. When it comes to Motzi Shabbos for Havdalah, you do not have to go ahead and stop. You can continue. But starting, then the Havdalah is the same. Then the Havdalah is Koveya the same way as Kiddush is Koveya. And that what you said to stop is only time Achila. Aval b'shtia low, right? When it comes to shtia, that's also not an issue. And then we say so that what you say stopping is only referring to achila, but drinking don't have to. And also it says shtia nami lo amran ela b'chamra b'shikra. And even what you said was drinking is only talking about with wine or beer. But to go ahead and drink water, that is not an issue. Upliga. Rav Huna, actually, this argues Rav Huna. Rav Huna chazi lahu gava deshasi mayim kaidim havdalah. He saw someone that went ahead to drink water before havdalah. And I'm relay, lo mistafi bar me askara. You're not scared of askara, which is a certain disease, start in the intestines and go into the mouth until he chokes and just suffocates. The Tana Mishmei the Rabbi Akiva kol hatayim klum kaidim sheyavdel misabech be'aksra. So he says, whoever goes ahead and tastes before the time of Avdullah, right, he will die from this type of askara, or this type of disease that one will choke. So tasting anything, even water. So he tell that even water, person is maskil before then, that would not be permitted. But others say, no, water is not one of the forbidden ones, but you can't go ahead and start anything, even drinking, when it comes to wine or beer or foods, fine. Rabbonon de Rav Ashi like Kapti Amaya, and it says over there the Rabbonon of the house of Rav Ashi, they were not makbid Amaya, and they were not makbid not to drink water. So boy minei Ravina me Rav Nachum bar Yitzchak mi shaloi kidesh be'erev Shabbos mahu sheikadesh v'holech kolayim kulo. Let's say a person did not make the kiddush. Now we know the kiddush at night. That is the one with the bracha of actual kiddush, versus which we're going to discuss, a little later on this morning. Discuss the brachas, right? The kiddush that we make during the day, which is just B'rei Gofen. But if he doesn't do Friday night, can he make that kiddush the next morning? Right? That's mekadesh. He's being mekadesh, Hashabbos, right? So does he make that the next morning? Is it kolam kulo? I.e., on Saturday, does he make that bracha or not? Samalei. But the fact we say when it comes to Havdalah, a person did not make Havdalah Motzei Shabbos, he can go ahead and make the bracha of the entire week, which we'll soon see means really Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Excuse me. Hachinami. So it should be the same. Mishala Kidesh Be'erev Shabbos. Mekadesh v'cholech kolam kulot. Person does not make Kiddush on Friday night. He should be able to go ahead and make Kiddush the entire Saturday, make the same bracha. However, Eis Ve'asu from a Brisa, it says over there, ladies, Shabbos v'le Yontif. Yesh ben Kedusha ala Kais, v'yesh behen haskara birchas hamazon. When it comes to Friday night or Yontif night, right, there is Kedusha ala Kos, we make a longer Kiddush, right, Mekadesh, you're right, Yisrael Hazmanim, or Mekadesh HaShabbos, right? So we make Kiddush ala Kos, and we also in benching, we say Yalav Yavo, we say Ritzei, right? In Shabbos, the Yontif, when it comes to the day of Shabbos and Yontif, Ein Behem Kedusha ala Kos, we don't say Kedusha ala Kos, we just say B'rei Gofen, or Shahakol, right? Those are the little schnapps, right? The Yesh Ben Haskara B'rei Hamazon, but there still is Ritzei and Yalav Yavo in benching. Now, if you think that if you miss Friday night or Yontif night, you can go ahead and make the Kiddush the next day. So Shabbos v'Yontif nami mishkachas lu yesh b'hem Kedusha ala Kos, right? We can find a case of, right, where Shabbos day there is Kedusha mentioned, i.e. the longer Kiddush. Why? If you miss it Friday night and then you say it's in the morning. So you do find a case where you say, right, the longer, right, right, you say all that in the day. Right? Because in ours, if you're talking about a case, we didn't make Kiddush at night, so you make during the day. So you do find during the day where you make a full Kiddush ala Kos, and you also have the regular, a longer benching. So it's a kasha. So you see over there that maybe it must be that you cannot make it up. Otherwise, it would have stated that during the day you also make a long Kiddush. So no, simple answer. Diloi Katani. In other words, they says, no, we're not talking about such a case of where he didn't do it, right? In other words, this Bryce means like we're talking about a case of lechatchila, right? We're not talking about a case of, right, if one didn't do Kiddush at night, then he can do it the next day. No, we're talking about lechatchila at night. There's a longer Kiddush during the morning or the day, right? There is no Kiddush then. It's only the Kiddush, that we say at Friday night. Fine. So 2 lines from the bottom, Kufei Amud Aleph. So Eisavei, Kavod Yom, the Kavod Laila, Kavod Yom Kaidam. Person's Kavod Yom, let's say he has a bottle of wine, So he has one bottle of wine for Shabbos. So he knows he's going to use 1 cup for Kiddush at night, 1 cup for Kiddush tomorrow. Then he has, like, let's say, a third extra cup to drink with his meal. So which meal should he go ahead and drink it with? So Gemara answers.
Can't he use it for Havdalah?
Let's say there's also for others for Havdalah. Let's say he has he's not going to make his own Havdalah. He'll be with somebody else.
Okay.
So now the person has a little extra drink. What should he go ahead and drink with? So it says kavod yom kaidem, right? So the kavod, so having during Shabbos day is more kaidem to the night, right? So you should have that. The oneg yom is different for the day. If he only has 1 cup, now he doesn't even have, like, say, like the 3 cups you're talking about. Let's say he only has 1 cup enough for 1 kiddush, right? So Aimer alav kiddush hayim mipnei shekiddush hayam kaidem lekavod yom, right? So he uses it for kiddush Friday night, right? The kiddush hayom, which is the Friday night kiddush, uses it for that, and that basically is more than the kavod hayom. Kavod hayom, we said that the day takes precedence during the day versus Friday night. However, save the wine for the kiddush at night and not for the kiddush, or not for the kiddush during the day. Now, the misa, if it's taka true, they can go ahead and make if you don't make Friday night kiddush, you can go ahead and just make it the same bracha Saturday morning. I have an idea. Save that kiddush, that special kiddush, right? The one where we say, with the longer bracha. Take that kiddush, do it in the morning, and then you have oneg yom, right? You have the oneg of the Shabbos day is more important to enjoy, right? And you're you're getting the kiddush, right? You kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so you fulfill it all. Why don't you do that? Shamalei chaviva mitzvah b'shaita. More chaviv is a mitzvah b'shaita. No, it's more precious is a mitzvah during its proper time. The proper time of kiddush is Friday night, so therefore, even according to the opinion that says you can say it during the day, it's much better to do it Friday night. Even though I'm missing out on the eineg that's going to be done for Shabbos day, right, as Saturday morning versus Friday night, doesn't make a difference. The mitzvah b'shaita is chaviva. Gemara says, you mean Amrina chaviva mitzvah b'shaita? And who says, right? There's such a svara that chaviv is a mitzvah. It's more precious, more dear during its time. All tiny, we learn in Brisa, hanichnas lebeisa b'motzi Shabbos. One who goes ahead and comes home from shul Friday night, Motzi Shabbos, Saturday night. Mevarech ala yayin, he makes a bracha ala yayin, ala gofen, ve'al ma'or, and fire, and he makes eish, ve'al besamim, and he makes a bracha on besamim. Now, remember all the clues in this, right? Because the Gemara is going to say shma mina timni, right? Learn from here 8 things, right? So anyway, so he comes back and he should make a bracha on ala yayin, Balmor, and the Aish, Besamim, and then he says, Havdalah Lakos, then he says, now, if he only has 1 cup, if he only has 1 cup, and he wants to have a malava malka, so what should he do? Go ahead and eat. Then, when he benches for Birkas Hamazon, right, he should use that cup and then say also Havdalah on the cup. So say Birkas Hamazon, and then Havdalah all in the same cup. Now, and say same all together. And we don't say that it's Chaviva Mitzvah Shaita. In other words, you're pushing off Havdalah. The proper time of Havdalah is right after Shabbos. Well, you're not doing it right after Shabbos, right? You're eating a meal first, and then you're making Havdalah. So, if you hold it's more precious to go ahead and do the mitzvahs in the right time, why does this Brisa say push off Havdalah, right? You don't want to push off Friday night's Kiddush to the next morning because, right, better to do the mitzvah in its time. So why are you pushing off Havdalah? Shamalei. So he answers, right? This sounds like me. I'm not a chacham. I'm not a prophet. I'm a mechayzav, right? And I'm not, anything, someone who's, not a yachid, not an individual, but someone who's like, special. Ana ella gamarna v'sadrina ana, right? Rather, I just learn and I review what I was taught. And this is what they said. Basically, this is what they told the base medrash. It's not my svara. I'll give you the difference between two cases. It's different bringing in the day versus saying goodbye to the day, i.e., bringing in Shabbos and taking out Shabbos. How so?
Although it's not uncommon to make Havdalah during Kiddush, because we've seen that during Yontif times when.
Right. No, correct. Right. Yeah. Right. That's true. But we're talking about over here about pushing off Havdalah, right? The issue wasn't, hey, you're making, right? Remember, we had a concept, hey, you can't do chavilas bundles, right? You can't do mitzvahs and bundles. Why? How can you do it together? So, right, we said you can do it together. If you don't have any other way, then you better to do two than one, right? But at no point did we say,
you're pushing it off, right? Change the time.
So what's the difference between bringing in the day and sending out the day?
Well, I thought you're not to have a meal until you actually hear Havdalah. Or am I mistaken? You're not to eat until you actually hear Havdalah?
Right, correct.
So then how would you be able to push it off, have a meal, and then say Havdalah?
So let's see. Good question. Let's see. We'll see. All right, we're going to get to that point soon. So he says, when it comes to bringing the day, the more you make it earlier, that's adif, right? And therefore, because it shows it's more precious. In other words, so therefore we wanted to go ahead and do Friday night. Let's do the Kiddush Friday night. However, all right, right? But when it comes to sending out, then better push it off because then it shows it's less than a burden to it, right? You got people. What time is Shabbos over? 8:36, right? They're waiting, 3, 2, 1. All right, perfectly. Let's end Shabbos, right? Versus over here, we'll push up much later. It's no big deal, right? So therefore, it appears not a burden. So therefore, when it came to Friday night, we don't push it off to Shabbos morning. But when it comes to basically delaying Havdalah and not doing it b'shaita, then it's no big deal because basically we're showing that Shabbos is chaviv to us. Now, says the Gemara, I hope you wrote down all the clues from the riddle, right? So the Gemara says, Shma mina, Shma mina miha masnisa timni. We learn 8 things, right? 8 different halachas we can, pull out. Usually it's 3 things, right? 8 things we can pull out from this Maisa, from this Brisa. What are these 8 things? So Shma mina hamavdil b'tfila tzarich sheyavdil akos. First of all, Klui's coming back from Shul and he really may have Havdalah, right? And during Shemona Esrei, right? So a person who's make his mavdil b'tfila, he has to make Havdalah akos, right? He has to come back and make Havdalah. Ushma mina bracha tu'una kos. We also over here see that what benching requires alakos. You should bench. So he says, you can't just eat and bench afterwards, right? Because you need the cup of wine, right? And also what do you see? There has to be a minimum shear, right? If it has to be a minimum shear, right? In other words, why? It has to be a minimum measurement for the kos. Why? Because if not, right, if he only has, let's say, 8 ounces, and so, it's only enough for 1 cup of wine. We'll just make 2 4-ounce cups, right? Obviously, there's a minimum shear. Also over here, learn that as if you make the person who's mevarich, he has to go ahead and taste it, right? He has to go ahead, or someone has to drink from it, and therefore by them drinking from it, obviously, if someone didn't have to drink from it, I could just make havdalah, then put the kos aside, and then just use the same wine later on, right? Obviously, someone has to go ahead and drink from it, right? So I'm right. Also, we learn from here that if one goes ahead and drinks from it, right, he has made it pagum, right? He's made it used or something which he can no longer use again. It's like a pagam, like a mum blemished, right? So in other words, we know that a person, if he makes a bracha on something, right? So now, and he drinks from it, so it's considered to be blemished, right? You can't reuse it unless you either add to it or, right, you add a little bit, pour it back in order to unpugum it. But we see that he makes it pugum, therefore you can't use it again for the next one. Ushmamina tam mavdil. Also over here, we see that someone who goes ahead and does eat food prior to his Havdalah, right? He is allowed to make Havdalah because we had we'll soon see there's a question of whether that is the case. But so the question was asked, well, how can he go ahead and eat before, right? We just learned earlier, right? We said that you don't have to stop right? You don't have to stop while going ahead, and you don't have to stop in order to, right? If Shabbos is ending, you don't have to stop a meal to make Havdalah, but you can't start, right? So the question over here is, how is the person going ahead and starting it, right? So it must be that either the case where he doesn't, according to here, right, l'chara, that he doesn't have the ability to go ahead and do it without eating, and it's probably better, according to this brisa, it would be better to go ahead and have the malava malka, right, than to go ahead and not have the malava malka and be able to bench alakos. Could be. So good question. The Rashbam, I don't believe mentioned it. Fine. Anyway, so he says, Shmamina Tam Avdil, top of the page. Shmamina Oimer base Kedushas Alakos Echad, and also we learn from there that you can say two different Kedushas Alakos Echad. You can do a bench, Birchas Hamazon, and Havdalah all on the same coast, right? Shmamina Beis Shamahi V'Alibid Rabbi Yehuda. Also, Shmamina, we had a machlokas in terms of the order, right? The order of Havdalah, and over here it was Yayin, right? Brepia Gofen, and then you go into the Aish, right? Which is before Besamim, where that right, like we do it like Beis Hillel, right? So this is Beis Shammai, who says first you do the Aish, and then you do the Besamim, and then at the end you do Havdalah. So this, according to this brisa, says is like Beis Shammai. Fine. So that was the A case. Rav Ashi Omar Tamu Pagma V'Kaisha Bracha Tzarich Shir Chadamilsi. He says actually only 7 things, because what? If you taste from it, it becomes pagum, right? In other words, by taste from it, you can no longer use it, and the kosher bracha requires a shear. That is considered to be one shmamina, right? And this is what it really means to say, my time of tamu pagum. What is the reason why, if you taste it, right, that if you drink something, then it's pagum? Mishum the kosher bracha tzarich shear, because it has to have a shear, and therefore he has to go ahead and drink from it. And therefore, once he goes ahead and drinks the minimum shear from the kos, he will make it pagum. He will make it blemished. Fine. And Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi copied a chatzva pegima, right? He was worried about a pitcher, right? That was a pugum, right? Someone went ahead and made kiddush, right? And he drank from the wine of a pitcher. He has made the entire thing pugum, right? It's pugum until you add basically more wine to fix it. You can't just use that wine for other kiddushes. Ravidi Bar Shishi copied a kasa de pegima. He was chayshesh about even a cup that was pugum. And Mar Baravashi copied afilu a chavisa pigimasa, right? He would even a smaller barrel that was pugum. If they made kiddush from there, then he, he would also be worried that was considered to be pugum if you drink from it. Fine. Tana Rabbanan, right, around 8 lines from the top of Kuf Vav Amud Aleph. Zachor es Yom HaShabbos l'kadsho. So the pasuk says, right, remember the Shabbos, the Kodsho, right, to sanctify it, Zachru al yayin, to remember it, al yayin, i.e., make kiddush on it. Ainli el b'yayim. Now the brisa is going to be a little backwards, so we're going to read the brisa, but then we're going to go ahead and back and explain. So just reading the words right now, Ainli el b'yayim. I only know to say to be mekadesh it during the day, during Saturday morning. But Laila b'nayin at night, how do we know? Tamalaymer. Therefore it says Zachar Yom Shabbos l'Kodsho. All right. Therefore, it says the pasuk is Zachar Zeh Mashtakav L'Kadsho. So now the Gemara is going to ask, what's this brayso talking about? So B'layla Menayin, right? You ask, how do we know at night? Adarabba, Iker Kiddusha B'laylahu, right? B'laylu D'Kaddish, right? Now, the main kiddush. Now, if you're telling me to remember to be Mekadesh Shabbos, so the main one should be Friday night. Why? The Chikadish Tchilas Yoma by the Kiddushay, right? Because when are we Mekadesh Shabbos? Or Mekadesh Shabbos when Shabbos comes, right? So Shabbos comes. Friday night was when it starts. So if any time, when should I be sanctifying? Not in the morning. I should be sanctifying it Friday night. And furthermore, B'layla Minayin. Why? And then when it says in the brisa, it says, how do we know at night? Tamalema. Therefore, it says Zochar Yom. Remember the day. So that's teaching you why you make kiddush at night. Doesn't make any sense. All right. So Zochar Shabbos Yom. So Yom Tanami Hadar Laila. The Kanasi they crowd the Yom. I understand. So it's asking about night, and you're bringing it a pasuk for the day. So the Gemara says, no, this is what I meant to say. Haki Komar, Zochar Yom HaShabbos l'Kodsho. Remember the Shabbos, right, to sanctify it. Zochar al yayin b'knisasa. Means to remember the day, right, to remember it with wine in its entrance, right, when it's in its beginning, i.e., Friday night. Ainli ella belayla. I only know at night. Biyom minayin. I only know in the beginning at night. However, during the day minayin. Tamalon before it says Zocher es yom hashabbos as yom. So biyom is different. We see the word yom during the day means also during the day. So therefore, there is a kiddush at night because Zocher es yom hashabbos the kadsho when it comes in, and then also during the day because it says es yom. Right now, biyom man mevarich. So during the day, what do we mevarich? So Rabbi Yehuda. Berei pri hagofen, right? Berei pri hagofen. And Ravashi, ikla l'mechuza. One time, Ravashi was in mechuza. So Amrle l'kiddush lon mar kiddushay rabba, right? Notice it's called kiddusha rabba. They told him, "No, go ahead and make kiddusha rabba." Got all nervous, right? He was going to a new place. He was mechuza. He was a guest there. And I want to give big kavod, give give you, you'll make kiddusha rabba for us, during the day. So Havile, so he gave it to the Sabra, my nihu kiddusha rabba. What's this kiddusha rabba they're talking about? So Amri Michli, let's see. Kol brachas kulam brei pri hagafen. I know, right? It for sure started with brei pri hagafen, right? I just don't know whether to use also the lashon for Friday night because it's kiddusha rabba, like the big kiddush. So kulam brei pri hagafen, ami bereisha. So there, I'll say that first, and then I'll see what happens. Amma brei pri hagafen va'agid bei, right? And then what did he do? Then he delayed, right? And he saw, right, what did he do? And then, so he, and then, so he sort of paused after he made Berei Pri Hagafen just to look around to see if they're waiting for him to do more. And he saw an older gentleman basically sit down and begin to start drinking, right? So then he realized, Vashasi, right? So they said, so he's so proud of himself. So he realized that he was done, right? I can go ahead and start drinking. That was the end of Kiddush. When he said by himself, right? The wise person has eyes in his head. In other words, because basically he assessed the situation and he basically did not embarrass himself by continuing to do because they call it Kiddush Rabbah, the great Kiddush, right? Maybe they want me to say the same bracha you say at night, but he did not. And he did it as there was the minhag of the place and also which is the halacha. So Amri b'nei Rabbi Chia, Mishal Hivta b'Motzi Shabbos, Mavdav Halach b'Chol Shabbos Kulo. Right? Person does not make Havdalah Motzei Shabbos, he should go ahead and make Havdalah. He has the entire week. Viad come until when? Reb Zera ad Revi, up until, not including Revi, Wednesday, right? B'Shabbos. Yom Revi ad Revi Shabbos. So basically you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Kiha Diyasiv Reb Zera kamei de Ravasi. Rather than some say Reb Zera is for Ravasi. Rather than some say Ravasi coming to Reb Yechon. The Yasiv he says when it comes to the Gittin, let's say when they're talking about which weeks when it comes to Gittin, Chad b'Shabbos, Trev Talasa, Basar Shabbos. Right, so when they talk about this Sunday, Monday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is basically following the Shabbos, right? And Arba v'Chamisha Ma'ali Yoma coming the Shabbos, but it's already Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is already basically around the next Shabbos, right? So right now, today is still Kisisa, right? It's still Sunday, even Monday, Tuesday, but once again, so Wednesday, it's already the next week. So to when it comes to Havdalah, you want the Havdalah, you go ahead and you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And however, Amar Rabbi Yaakov Aidi Avalo Alaor, you don't say Alaor, right? You don't say Maria Aish. If you don't say it Friday night, you don't say it anymore, right? We saw because that was when fire was created, right? Also, same thing, right? You only make the Havdalah. Fine. Omar Rav Baruna Amar Rav. Bottom line, Hanoitel, or turn page ready, right? Hanoitel Yodav Lo Yikadesh, right? Apologies to the Yakis for trying to learn this sugya, but one who goes ahead and washes his hands, right? The guy washes his hands, he forgot the order, he didn't make kiddush, he washed his hands, and all of a sudden, right, he washed his hands in Tfilas Yadayim, and he wants to have, it's for bread, but he realized he didn't make kiddush. So what should he do? Right, probably if he goes ahead and makes kiddush, it's a hefsek, right? So Amalu Rav Yitzchak Bar Shmuel Bar Masa Akati Lo Yinoch Nafshi de Rav, right? Rav even hasn't died, right? And you forgot his teachings. Zimnim, Sagi, and Havi Kamina, Kamei the Rav. There were times in front of Rav. Zizim the Chaviva Le Rifta. So Makadish Rifta, there were times when he was more hungry, and therefore he made Kiddush on bread. And Zimnim the Chaviva Le Chamra, Makadish Chamra. And there are other times that he was, that he wanted the what's it called? He wanted the wine, and he would go ahead and make it wine, right? So you see that even if the guy washed his hands, right? L'chaira, right? Maybe that's not a hefsek because he can go ahead and have the bread, right? Maybe the kiddush in there. So Rav Huna Amarav, So does it go on and answer it? Does not, right? So it says, so in that case, right, l'chara, what a person should do, right? Right, Rashi says another loy kaddish. He should be mekadesh. I just didn't say what we should do, right? You know, if you look at the Rashbam, just top line, a couple lines of the Rashbam, he says, right, not yadav loy kaddish. Ella achir kaddish. Somebody else to go ahead and make kiddush. Who yatzei de chavasa b'shmiya. He should go here and he can fulfill his obligation through shmiya, through hearing the kiddush uv'shtiya, right? And then even if he can even drink some, the ein kan hesach hadas. Right? And there's no considered hesach hadas. There's no big separation, right, of take his mind off if he wasn't mevarich. But he himself should not go ahead and be mekadesh, even not tell yadav kadesh yachol, right? And that was if he basically washes his hands for him to go ahead and eat. Fine, because kiddush would be a mafsik, but not hearing it. So fine. So that was the case over there. So Omar Rav Huna, Omar Rav Tam ein mekadesh. So now a person who went ahead and he ate, right? Person went ahead and he ate before Kiddush, right? Friday night, Eina Makadish, right? It's a punishment, penalty. You eat before Kiddush, no more Kiddush, no soup for you, no Kiddush for you. Wait till the next morning. Now, what about when it comes to Motzei Shabbos? Person eats, right? Is it that to make Havdalah, or is it also a penalty? I say, so says Rav Huna, right? He himself holds tam mavdil. However, Rav Asi says a person who eats cannot make havdal. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba ikla lebei Rav Asi. One time Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba was in the house of Rav Asi, who said a person who tastes, right, who eats first can't make havdalah. So he was in the house of Rav Asi, ishtali, right? So what happened? He forgot to tell me, then he ate something. Havule kasa. So they brought him the kasa v'avdil, and then he make havdalah. So even though he ate, he made havdalah. Samarle the Visil. So Rav Asi's wife turned to him and said, you don't do this, right? You if you eat, you don't make Havdalah at night, right? You ruin the opportunity. Samarla, so he told her, no, Shavke, right? Leave him, right? Leave him alone. Why? Karabasphere, like, because he holds like his Rebbe holds like Rav, and Rav Huna, quoted, was a Talmud of Rav, held that a person's tam is mavdil, could make Havdalah. And Omar, Rav Yosef, Omar Shmuel, tam ein mekadesh, tam ein mavdil. Person who eats Friday night cannot go ahead and make kiddush. Person who eats Motzei Shabbos and he didn't do Havdalah yet cannot go ahead and make Havdalah. So it's like a penalty. The Rabba Omar Rav Nachman, Omar Shmuel, tam mekadesh v'tam mavdil. No, tam person he eats doesn't make a difference. He can still make kiddush, and he eats. He can still make Havdalah. And Amar Rava, and the Rava says Hilchasa, which is a couple lines down, the two listeners of the paskening. So he says Amar Rava Hilchasa tam mekadesh v'tam mavdil. The halach is like the second opinion, like Shmuel, who said that even if you taste it, you could be mekadesh or you could make Havdalah. And Mishla kiddush be'erev Shabbos. Also, a person does not make kiddush on Friday night. Mekadesh v'halei kol yom kulu ad Motzei Shabbos. He has the entire day to make the longer bracha of kiddush. And Mishla Hivdil Motzei Shabbos, person not make Havdalah on Shabbos. Mavdil v'holech kol haShabbos kulu. You can make Havdalah the entire week. And we'll soon see there's a Lishna Achrina. And a Meimar Pasuk Leil HaShmaitza Deravi B'Halishna. However, Meimar said it a little bit different. Basically, the last halach is a little different. And Amarava, he said what? Hilchos Tam Mekadesh Tam Av, the person who ate before Kiddush, he can still make Kiddush. Person who ate before Havdalah, he can still make Havdalah. And Mishla Kiddush Be'erev Shabbos, he didn't make Kiddush Friday night. Then Mekadesh Halach Kol Yom Kulo, he has entire Saturday before the Shabbos ends to make Kiddush. And Mishla Hivdil Motzei Shabbos, person not make Havdalah on Shabbos. Mavda v'holech kol hayom kulo. Right, he has only the entire day, i.e., he only has Sunday and not the entire week. All right, we'll stop here. Everyone have a wonderful day. Enjoy the nice sunny weather and the warmer weathers this week. So, see you guys. Shkoyach.